Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cranked and Ranked, the show where two dudes rank some rock and metal related shit. That's when you know I've hit a wall when I just say shit.
Hell yeah.
And today we're going to be bringing you some shit from a particular year. As usual, I am Old Head, a.k.a. Steven, or the other way around, depending on how you would like to address me. I'll answer to both. And with me, as always, is Mr. Eddie Sparxx. Hello, sir.
Yo.
Yeah. So, if you're new to this show, then welcome. And also, this is not a normal episode. The normal episodes are we rank the discography of a particular band from what we think is their least great to their most great, or worst to best, depending on the band we're talking about. But today, we're actually doing another year where we pick we used to do top 5, but now we're doing top 10 albums of a particular year. Just because we got to some years where all of a sudden there's so much good music that whittling it down to 5 is ridiculously hard. And this year was one of those years. Today we're going to be doing the year 1990, which we've talked about before. It's a very interesting year because for the most part, it still kind of seems like the 80s when you listen to a lot of the music.
Yeah.
But there are some things that were happening that you could they already tip into what would be going on in the 90s. So it's an interesting year because it's almost like you had everything coexisting and being equally successful, I guess.
Yeah.
Ish. At the same time.
It's a strange year to look at because on the one hand, you've still got, glam metal power ballads topping the charts, but also Man in the Box by Alice in Chains is out, and that's giving way to a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And it's right smack bang in the middle of our area of expertise, which is the late 80s and the early 90s between us.
Also, I just did a new episode of Old Headbangers Ball, which will already be out by the time this episode comes out. But I talk about how in the 90s also that was around the time that every band that would have fallen into the hair metal category, they mostly all had moved into being more bluesy to where they all had like a slide guitar and their songs, they were trying to be more stripped down and bluesy. They all did that. And so you had all of those things happening at the same time. And a lot of it was really great music. I mean, I'm not just including the bluesy hair stuff. I'm talking about everything. And so, this was a really hard list and also a very interesting list for me because I actually did a top 10 of 1990 video like 2 years ago, I think, or maybe a year and a half ago. And the interesting thing that happened was some of those, a lot of albums switched places, but some of them literally just dropped completely off the list.
Wow.
And so, I mean, that's the reason why I feel like music is so much more in my life than most people. Cause I think most people have like top albums and they don't ever change, but mine, a few of them will always stay the same, but things are always coming in and out of my life, and things that were important at one time and then they weren't, and then they came back into my life, or things that I didn't give a chance to and then I did, or just a different viewpoint on albums and bands and all of that shit. It's like it just seems like every other year I could just do a new top 10 albums of in general. And it's just like an ever changing revolving door of awesome shit. And usually the top ones don't change, but in this case, I'm gonna throw you a little bit of a hint here. The top one did change. So
wow.
Without further ado, though, we don't really have to talk about in 1990. Like you weren't born. I
had another 8 years yet.
Yeah, I was 12 in 1990, and so I was listening to a lot of music. But in 1990, I was listening to stuff like Guns N' Roses and Anthrax, and
as you do,
and Faith No More a lot.
Yeah,
King's X, Living Color. Like that was, that was the shit that I was listening to. And but yeah, it was a cool year, even back then for discovering music. So without further ado, because we've got 10 albums each, top 10, but then we also have honorable mentions. I've whittled down my honorable mentions to just 5 albums. Eddie didn't do that, which is fine. Well, I think that shows the differences in our brains, because I'm so OCD about everything that everything has to be even. Like my wife shared me this meme where it talks about the volume on your TV, and it was talking about having the volume at a random number, and then the next one was having the volume at an even number, and then the last one was having the volume at a multiple of 5. And I'm like, that's fucking me. Like I can't. It's always going to be on some number of 5 when I do the volume.
Well, I kind of did the same thing, but I have no restraint, so I just went for 20, which is technically an even number and a multiple of 5.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's going to work perfectly then.
Hell yeah!
So
well-oiled machine.
Yeah, let's dive right into it as usual. I'm going to let Edward Sparxx the first, Edward J. Sparxx the first, lead us off with his number 10 album from 1990.
Cool. So my number 10 1990 album is "Smell the Magic" by L7.
Nice. All right. Cool.
So this album it's a cool one because it kind of hits the mark for me in 3 different ways. Mm-hmm. It scratches 3 separate itches with grunge, metal, and punk. Because, like, the riffs, the way they're written, they're very metal, but the approach is very punk, and the aesthetic overall is just that really cool early 90s. We don't give a fuck. But they also kind of have this badass attitude at the same time. They weren't as apathetic as some grunge bands, because some were like, we don't give a shit in the regard of, I don't care if I wake up tomorrow. These guys were just like, we're gonna party. Fuck it. I don't have to do my hair up. I'm just gonna turn up dressed like I just left work at a thrift store, and it's a really cool vibe to the album too. It's really raw. Tracks like Fast and Frightening, Death Wish, Just Like Me, they're probably my favorite tracks on there. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing fancy. It's just hard rocking Riot Girl action, and it just blows the fucking door down every time I hear it.
Yeah, and you made a really interesting point, because you did say, metal played like it's punk rock. I almost feel like that is what grunge is.
Yeah, it's that like middle ground between the two.
Yeah,
where like they've got
that's a nice cup. You guys can't see this, but I don't have one of those cups, and it's the Metallica and Beer for All cup.
Wow. Hell yeah, I got it at the Twickenham 2019 stadium show.
Nice. All right, sorry I derailed us. We were talking about L7.
That's cool, dude. But yeah, some really cool stuff on it. Danita Sparxx, crazy front woman, Susie Gardner too. They're a great band, and like, it's not technical music in any way. It just fucking feels good, and it's great. This is a great breaking the speed limit album. It's one of those where a lot of the songs I just think to myself, I'm gonna quiet road, the sun's going down, nobody appears to be around. I could sneak up to about 70 if I'd like to. It's a great album. I love it. It's pretty straight ahead, but it's got a really cool shout along punky vibe with pretty metaled up riffs. So it's a cool album.
Yeah, totally is. And that's a band. I don't know if it's the same for girls or women. Sorry, but I think they're still going today. I think they just put out something new. Yeah,
they split up for a while and then got back together. And they did a documentary that was really cool as well.
I saw that.
Yeah. There's some footage of them hanging out with Faith No More, which is cool too.
Yeah.
And they go on stage and they dress up like Mike Patton during the Angel Dust era, and I'm pretty sure it's Danita Sparxx that walks out, and she's just like crouching around doing the Mike Patton poses. Like, she'd slicked her hair back, she'd penciled on a mustache. It's hilarious.
That's awesome. Sweet. So yeah, that's a hell of a kickoff for this episode. My number 10. This is the one that kept albums from my honorable mentions kept swapping in and out of number 10.
Yeah.
And finally, I just had to throw up my hands and say, "Look, I'm not changing this again," because I just couldn't decide. It was really hard to decide. And so finally, I decided on my number 10 being "Twisted into Form" by Forbidden, which is killer. We did a Forbidden Cranked and Ranked. If you're interested in that, you can find that. We did their whole discography, so we went into a lot more detail about this album, but it's their second album, and it's more technical than the first. I don't really necessarily like the production as much. There's a kind of a rawer production on the first one that I enjoy. This one's a little more clean. But a lot of albums in 1990, they had that very clean production.
I would imagine that's probably following in the footsteps of what Justice did, and Justice for All. They probably all heard it and thought, wow, that sounds tight. Let's see, maybe keep the bass, but aside from that,
yeah. But Twisted into Form is like it's got so many killer songs on it. Just even the beginning, the first proper track, Infinite, is just so amazing, and then goes straight into Out of Body, Out of Mind, and then Step by Step. It's just a killer moment after killer moment, and Forbidden's a band that, like, as we said in the episode we did on them, they should be mentioned with other thrash bands a lot more than they are.
Yeah.
I almost feel like people just don't know them that well. Because, like, sometimes people will name thrash bands, and then they'll say, I hate that I pick on this band, but I have to. They'll mention Overkill, and they don't mention a band like Forbidden, and I go, I think it's just because you don't know. because Overkill's fine, but the caliber of music, the quality of the music that Forbidden put out on every one of their albums is insane, and Twisted into Form is just one of those killer albums.
Yeah.
I don't even remember if this may have been my number one in that ranking. I don't really remember. Maybe I should go back and listen to that episode that we did. But either way, it's a killer album, and so it made it into the top 10 at number 10, Twisted into Form.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for my number 9, on the complete opposite end of the heavy metal spectrum, I have Firehouse. the first Firehouse album.
Does that have I finally found the love of a lifetime?
That's the one. But don't be
panty
fooled
dropper
by the
right there.
Hell yeah, but don't be fooled by the balladry, because this album is, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, produced glam metal albums of all time.
Yeah.
The mix sounds obese. It is ridiculous.
I like that.
on the actual metalled up hard rock songs on here, like, Don't Treat Me Bad is a good song and all, but it didn't do the actual hard rocking songs on here justice. Like, it kind of gave the singles they picked kind of did this album a disservice with, like, maybe the notable exception of All She Wrote, but there are some groovy ass riffs on here. The drum sound is exactly how I want mine to sound on a stadium rock album, and the guitar tone is the rhythm guitar tone is insane. Mm-hmm. There are parts where they'll hit like a pinch harmonic in a riff, and I think Dimebag would be, that's approaching that level of heaviness in the tone.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the songwriting, but God, this album, if all you've heard from Firehouse is like the odd ballad or Don't Treat Me Bad, skip those songs, listen to the rest of the album. Oh my god, the production on this and the actual hard rocking hair metal songs on here are so fucking good. And honestly, I'm going to go ahead and put my hand up and say it's one of my favorite snare drum sounds of all time.
Nice. So is Firehouse an original band, or is it one of those bands that has famous people from something else in it?
I'm pretty sure they're original. Actually, I'll on the fly research, people.
Because I remember there were bands that were popping up, like your Damn Yankees and shit that would come out, and it was always featuring somebody that used to be in Night Ranger or used to be in Journey or whatever. Hardline, is that the band that had the dude from Journey in it?
That's the one.
Yeah, there was all these bands popping up, and it would be like a new kind of heavier band.
Supergroups.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's you got the singer CJ Snare.
CJ Snare?
That's his name.
That
CJ
is a hell of a
Snare.
name.
Hell yeah.
I think you need to change your names. If fuck Eddie Sparxx, you're going to be CJ Snare.
CJ Tom. CJ Bass. They put out two awesome albums in the early 90s, but it really is a casualty of its release. September 11th, 1990.
Never forget. that's a joke for the Americans.
You'll get it 11 years from now. Jeez. But it's a killer album, dude. Also, the album art is hilarious to me. Like, it's got a full-on MILF on the front cover holding a match with a burning farmhouse behind her. It's something.
Get it, Firehouse. We're not talking about the firehouse like Kiss was talking about, where they're going to come and put the fire out. We're going to go set the house on fire with our rock and roll.
Hell yeah.
I have to admit, I didn't give this album a chance ever because I literally thought they were soft rock, which I have no problem with it because I Love of a Lifetime is a really great ballad. I like some ballad. I love some sappy shit every once in a while.
That's the thing though. It's one of the most juxtaposed ballads in hard rock history because there are songs on here: Rock on the Radio, All She Wrote, Shake and Tumble, Ought to Be a Law, Lover's Lane. There's double kick on Lover's Lane. It's so fucking, man, this album rules. It's
so
underrated.
I'm guessing it's that same sort of thing as Extreme fell into, because More Than Words doesn't sound like anything else on that album. You're going to buy it and you're like, what is this? These songs are they're not all sweet songs. It
really is one of those situations. Yeah. Honestly, the soft songs that people know from this album are probably my least favorite songs on the album. Yeah, the rest of it rocks hard.
Well, you know what? Yeah. If you manage to write a song that gets included on Monster Ballads, then you're good enough for me.
Set for life.
That was a very important compilation when it came out for me, because it was I believe it was the late 90s or early 2000s when Monster Ballads first came out, and you'd see TV commercials be where they have all the songs scrolling up, and it would be order now, $29.99 for 2 CDs or whatever, And my buddy bought it, and we would get friends over to the house to play cards or dominoes or whatever. And we would always put that on and get really drunk and sing along to all the songs. But we would he would do the harmonies with me on More Than Words and High Enough and stuff. To the point where I was just like, man, every time I listen to those songs, I'm like, it's great. I just wish I had somebody next to me to sing the harmony part with me. But we listened to we wore that fucking shit out, man. Anyway.
Hell yeah. I've got I think it's called Soft Metal. It Ain't Heavy on cassette.
Yeah,
and that's a pretty cool late 80s ballad compilation.
Nice.
Yeah,
cool. All right. Well, then moving on to my number 9. I'm moving away from you, And this is also one of the rare occasions where we're not going to talk about anything rock related for a minute. My number 9 is the album Fear of a Black Planet by Public Enemy. And
Cool.
it is the best Public Enemy album. Arguably. I think Apocalypse 91 might be my favorite Public Enemy album, but it has its flaws. Whereas Fear of a Black Planet, there's something about it. It takes you on a journey because there's so many different moods of songs on here, because you expect to get songs like Welcome to the Terradome, which is a fucking classic. That's the kind of thing that you sort of expect from Public Enemy. But then you get stuff like even 911 as a joke is a little bit different, but you get songs like Polly Wanna Cracka, which is like the most sort of like, it's kind of weird when you first hear that song. But it just goes through, and some of them are like really short little songs that just they come in and out and they move on to the next one very abruptly. It's almost got like at times like an Abbey Road feel to it, where the end of Abbey Road has like all those little songs. I guess the Beastie Boys did that too on Paul's Boutique, but it just has that thing where it almost feels like it was just it's like a statement that just doesn't necessarily let you get comfortable with anything, but every little thing that it throws your way to me is just absolutely classic. And then it wraps it up with the song Fight the Power, which is one of the most famous Public Enemy songs that was, I believe they wrote it for the movie Do the Right Thing, which is an amazing movie. And Fight the Power has like, this is probably everybody's favorite Public Enemy lyric, but it's one of mine. It's the Elvis was a hero to most. What the fuck was the hell? But never meant shit to me. See, straight up racist. That sucker was simple and plain. Motherfuck him and John Wayne. And like every time I hear that part, I'm like, hell yeah, because fuck Elvis and John Wayne. So I just love that part of the. Because as soon as I did the Elvis was a hero to most, my brain went to Living Color.
Yeah,
but that's beside the point. Which, interestingly enough, was the same year. Came out the same year, but they're referencing Public Enemy in their song. So that's how powerful Fight the Power was immediately when it came out. But anyway, entire album's fucking a classic, and I also really love the album cover. I'm a sucker because like a lot of hip hop album covers, it's kind of just a picture of the people that are rapping on it and maybe their DJ or something. But this is like legit, it almost could be a metal cover,
I always thought the same thing. It has kind of like you could pretty much put any thrash logo in place of the Public Enemy logo and it would look fine. It would fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great album cover, great album. I feel like this is one that if you listen to any hip hop, you've probably heard this album already, and it's amazing album from an amazing group, one of the best hip hop groups ever, and one of the best hip hop albums ever. And that's my number 9, Fear of a Black Planet.
Cool. So jumping back into the thrash zone.
Yeah.
For my number 8. Yeah. It is. It's
Metallica family.
That is that a reference to that very famous video of him at like, what was it, like Download or Sonosphere 2012 or something?
There was a year where it seemed like he did that at every show. Like he would at the end
it goes on like uncomfortably long, and he starts like running out of ways to say it.
Yeah,
and he just start like a family. It's so fucking. We love him.
Yeah, he meant well. He meant well, and honestly, and I feel like I'm part of the family. Anyway, with that, we're not even. There's no Metallica albums in 1990, but we still managed to fucking put them into the episode anyway.
But yeah, this is a Big Four album.
Okay.
And it is Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer.
Sweet, great album.
This is, in case anybody has or hasn't heard our Slayer episode, this is my favorite Slayer album. I don't remember specifically whether or not I put Seasons or South of Heaven. They're on a pretty even thing for me,
I don't know. I don't
but to
remember.
me now, yeah, nowadays Seasons in the Abyss is my top, because it's like it's the perfect blend of fast stuff from Rain and Blood and the slow stuff from South of Heaven, and they did the two extremes with the previous album, but this is where, I mean, this kind of led to it's probably the most accessible Slayer album.
Sure, yeah,
it's quite
I'd go with that.
For what it's worth. It is hooky compared to, you know, previous and later Slayer, because there's parts in it like Expendable Youth where I'm just thinking, wow, this is catchy as hell. Dead Skin Mask too. Like this is a chorusy album, really.
Yeah.
When you think about it, because a lot of Slayer before and since has been like, you know, but like, yeah, like this one is like, you'll have those moments, but it's probably, by Slayer standards, it's probably the most melodic album too.
Yeah,
but
you make a point. You make a
way.
good point. When it comes to Slayer, this is their most big chorus kind of album. Like, I'm trying to think of it. Like, yeah, like most songs, some of them aren't quite as big, but fucking War Ensemble, that is a big ass chorus on that song.
Yeah, it's crazy how catchy this album is, because it's almost like it shouldn't be like it has no right being this catchy and this extreme at the same time, but hell, they pulled it off. They pulled out all the stops and made, you know, on the heavier end of the thrash spectrum, ended up making one of the catchiest albums in the genre, and it's crazy they pulled it off. But hell, that it is. I mean, that album is an artistic statement, if ever I've seen one. It's like, yeah, we showed you we can do fast. We showed you we can do slow. We did both really well. But let's be the really heavy, scary band, but also have people sing along to it now.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this album, is that it just hits the trifecta.
Well,
fast, slow, catchy.
Yeah, them and a lot of other bands. I think that's the number one thing that happened with a lot of those bands is they got better at what they did, and so the songwriting got better. And I think that's the big thing that irks a lot of metalheads, is that they don't want good songwriting. They just want some riffs jammed together and some shouting over the top of them with a solo, and then that's all you need to do. Whereas Slayer, at least for this album, well, maybe they got better as they went on, but obviously after that, I think Slayer started to get a little lost about what they were doing. But it may have even been at the time that they had fans that were just like, "Well, you guys got to write like catchy songs. I thought you were into Satan." But yeah, that's a fucking great album. So I agree with everything that you just said.
Cool. So,
all right, well,
handing it over to you.
We're gonna stay in thrash metal. Although this album is one of those ones that, putting the thrash metal term on it, I kind of go, it's got some thrash on it. It's got a lot of other shit on it too. And it is another one that I'll get into it when I talk about the album. My number 8 is Act 3 by Death Angel. And this album is so fucking good in all these ways that I think most people don't even know. Because I really feel, because it starts off with Seemingly Endless Time, which is has fast thrash in it, and it's a real good opening song.
Yeah.
And so I think because of that, a lot of people are like, yeah, classic thrash, and then they put this album cover along with all of their other classic thrash. But you get into the album, there's funk on it, there's a ballad on it. There's songs that literally just don't have any thrash in them. Many of them don't. And there's a lot of interplay between the main vocalist and I believe one of the guitarists who does backing vocals. And it's one of those albums that it's a lot to unpack if you're just wanting straightforward thrash, because it's not. And I just love the fact that this album, every time I listen to it, there are things about it that I didn't remember from the time before. And I'm just like, yeah, oh yeah. And it's just because I feel like these guys, they got signed to a major. They worked with Max Norman, a really great producer. And I feel like they were young, but they were once again a band that was getting really good at what they were doing. And they were just like, we got all these ideas. Let's just fucking do them. Let's do all these ideas. Yeah. And so it's almost like you can hear the experimentation and the confidence that they had in throwing all these things together into this package that is unlike any other thrash album, in my opinion. There are other bands, obviously, that dabbled in the funk area and gave you different vibes, but I feel like this is the most all over the place in the best way possible thrash album. And it makes me a little bit sad about Death Angel because after this album, they were on tour and they got into a really bad accident and then they broke up.
Yeah.
And they got back together later on, and every album they've done since then has been that more modern take where it's real. They're playing it too close to these rules and what they're doing. Right. And if you listen to the first Death Angel album, and then you listen to Frolic in the Park, and then you listen to Act 3, they were all about doing interesting things. And then somehow that just went out the window. Now they're not as samey as some bands now. They do still have a variety on some of their tracks, but it just makes me sad because I'm like, if they had never been in that van accident, would they have done a black album? I know that's a dirty term to some people. Would they have actually made that leap to where they made a massive fucking album that everybody in the fucking world knows?
I'd be quite interested to go into to do like kind of a deep dive into some what if this had happened. We could do that as like a kind of episode. This is one of our in-show meetings.
Yeah. You're welcome to be a fly on the wall at this particular meeting.
Yeah, I'd quite like to do that, like an alternate history kind of thing.
Especially when it comes to events that were out of the band's control. Because I can understand, like, if everyone's on drugs and the band breaks up, that's their own fucking fault. But a van accident that, debilitates I think it was the drummer that was really badly injured. And but it makes me kind of sad because those first 3 Death Angel albums to me are amazing. And now they just put out pretty good stuff. And it's just, it kind of bothers me a little bit, but it doesn't take away the fact that we have Act 3, and Act 3 is an album that I implore everybody to go listen to all the way through, because it is the kind of album that if it came out today, so many metal fans would be pissed at this album.
Wow.
And I love it. I love it for that. But it's also got some killer thrash on it too. But it's an amazing album, and that's why it is my number 8, Act 3.
Cool. So my number 7 is an album we didn't talk about too long ago, and that is Time's Up by Living Colour.
Ah, yeah.
I love this album. It takes their sound from Vivid, but goes way out there on expanding off of it. So there's some really, really cool, weird stuff on it.
Yeah. And
in terms of experimentation, like you said, so many of the songs just kick ass, dude.
Mm-hmm,
like there you got the funk metal kind of thing going, but they up the thrash sometimes. They up the jazz. They up the man. Like there's so many different elements to this band that just make them so good. And how like there's a song on there with featuring Queen Latifah, and
yeah,
and Little Richard on Elvis Is Dead. Like Type is an absolute tune.
Agreed. You have to talk about Love Rears Its Ugly Head, like one of.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's a fan favorite, but it's just an amazing song. It's probably no secret to anybody that we're going to talk about this album again in a little bit. So I'll let you go.
No, it's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of like little interludes on it as well.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can have a song like Time's Up, like the title track, and Solace of You on the same record is just such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Like this is one of those albums that throws the rule book in the trash and lights it on fire because it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just really love Living Colour's core sound, and this is a prime example of a band not staying in their comfort zone, because Vivid has a vibe, and Time's Up has a vibe too. But Time's Up has so many different flavors to it, whereas I find that, Vivid is a more consistent thing. Mm-hmm. But Time's Up, when you listen to that, at least the first few times through, you still kind of don't know what you're expecting.
Yeah.
There'll be a moment in a song, like what a statement to open the album with Time's Up as well, because it starts out kind of funky and then just goes full hardcore punk, and then this like weird, I don't know how to describe it. It's just this kind of like crazy world music breakdown section.
Yeah.
Fucking madness, but in the best of ways. And I feel like this album kind of sits between it's like almost Mr. Bungle levels of experimentation where they'd like switch up genres.
Yeah.
But like
it feels more
nowhere near as breakneck.
Well, yeah. As much as I love Mr. Bungle, like with Living Colour, it seems natural, whereas with Mr. Bungle, it seems like, hey, look how weird we are. Where I don't think Living Colour ever meant that at all. The music just came out how it came out.
Yeah, it always comes off like that. That's the thing I said about their comfort zone. They could be comfortable playing anything.
Yeah.
But it's like they want to resist that as much as possible at the same time. Mm-hmm. So they always end up with these cool hybrids of songs. But they're also unique enough to be identifiable with a single riff. So that's why Time's Up made this top 10 list.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, it's an amazing album. Go listen to our ranking of Living Colour. All right. So the next one, this is in it's not really cheating, but I didn't include this back when we did 1989 because the album technically came out in the US in 1990, but it did come out, I believe, in the UK at the end of 1989. But I'm including it here because I live in America, and this was an album that at the time, this album was huge for me because I'm building up to it. This is another different vibe kind of album because I was listening to metal and hip hop and stuff like Living Colour and all these things. And this album came out and it was just like, fuck, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. The album is called Mental Floss for the Globe, and the band is called Urban Dance Squad.
Hey.
And they are, it's a Dutch band, but they are really hard to categorize because there's so much of a hip hop element in it.
Deeper shade of soul.
Fuck yeah, on this album. And I didn't know, I didn't hear this until 1990, and so therefore it's included in my 1990 list. But just the different places that this album goes, it's got like a funkiness. They have a full band. They have a guy who is a rapper, but occasionally he can sing if he wanted to. And on later albums by Urban Dance Squad, he did sing more often. But just the combination of rock and funk and hip hop, and it's done so well. This is an album that it almost baffles me that this isn't still something that everybody talks about. I'm assuming probably over in the Netherlands or whatever. That's where the Dutch come from, right? No, that's not. Where are the Dutch from?
Is it Denmark?
Denmark. I should fucking know that. What is it? No, that's Danish people from Denmark. We're both idiots.
Hey, where are the Dutch from? The Netherlands.
I was right the first time. Shit, man.
Hey.
All right. I feel better. You are the one that looks like an idiot, and I love it. It makes me feel better. Because normally the Brits are looked at as more intelligent than us American folk.
As one of them, I can categorically tell you that is not the case.
But yeah, I think it's still probably a big thing over in their home country, but over here, like, people don't talk about it, and I'm like, well, this was just as ahead of its time as Faith No More and Living Colour and whatever band you want to throw in from that time period. And this shit holds up today. Like, this is an album that I've probably listened to every year since it came out. And
yeah.
And it never is something that I go, oh, I'm kind of, I've heard this too much. No song on here has been overplayed. It just flows and feels fucking great. And it's a classic. It is Urban Dance Squad is a band that I'd like to eventually rank. They only have like 5 albums, I think, so that would be a short one. But I just love it. I love everything about it. And I think they did actually tour with Living Colour, so that would have been a fucking killer. Living Colour jumped on so many cool tours. They toured with Anthrax.
Yeah.
Like, there's all these bands that came into contact with each other in the late 80s and early 90s. And I'm just like, man, I was too young to ever go to any shows, but all these great tours happened. And so, yeah, it's whatever. Anyway, Urban Dance Squad, Mental Floss for the Globe. If you don't know it, do yourself a favor. You may know the song Deeper Shade of Soul. It was a pretty big hit at the time, but the whole album is fucking great. And that's why it is my number 7.
Awesome. So my number 6, approaching the halfway point here. We have our first, not necessarily matchup, but you've had this one, and
okay.
It is Twisted into Form by Forbidden.
Nice. Can't get enough Forbidden love. Wait, that sounded weird. Love of the band Forbidden on this podcast. Eddie and I do not have a forbidden love. Although these days there is no forbidden love. You love who you want, unless it's an animal. Don't love an animal because they didn't ask for that.
This has been a PSA. It's time for another public service announcement.
Just a reminder, don't fuck animals.
That needs to be a merch item now. We need to sell shirts with that. This message is endorsed by Cranked and Ranked.
I'll endorse the not fucking animals thing for the rest of my life. I think that's a good cause for us to hang our hats on.
I don't know, man. Some of those cows in the field next door do be looking kind of sexy right now.
You got a field next door?
Yeah, this is welcome to rural Britain. There's cows in my back garden. So yeah, Twisted into Form, Forbidden. It's one of, if not the best album I've discovered through this show. Because when we did the Forbidden Cranked and Ranked episode, go check that out. I was completely Forbidden blind. I was going in with fresh ears because I'd never heard any of the songs. And fucking hell was it life-changing, because I now have, especially the first 2 albums, I just come back to and think, good God, you're right. This should be huge in the thrash community, and it's much deserving of a lot more airtime. And this is just awesome thrash metal with plenty of proggy twists to it. Like, there are, again, it's got hooky moments, but there's so much badass technical stuff in there going on. And there'll be changes in riffs. Like, there's that part in Infinite where it's like you hear him whisper, nothing thing changes. Like all those parts in there that just really add to it. Because I find with some thrash bands, you either go down the straight ahead speed route or you go down the actually I've studied music theory route where where you can start composing shit like a classical, composer even. And that there's like, let me look at the track listing on this album, and really,
I really do think the best bands find that middle ground between technicality and virtuosity and just remembering that there needs to be a song.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny as well. This isn't. I mean, it's the length of a good album. It's like 40 minutes ish. Because a lot of the songs are like Metallica song length, anywhere between 4.5 to like 8 minutes. And there's 2 like instrumental interludes on the album, one being Partner the Ways at the beginning and then Spiral Depression a little bit later on. But it's just such a really well crafted album. I don't think there's a wasted riff anywhere. And God, what's the singer called? Russ Anderson. He's got such a killer, commanding voice. Like
one of my favorites.
Every single line is like one of those invisible orange, like you mentioned. Every time I hear the evil that revolves around our universe.
Yeah.
Evil! I've thought about making a mashup. Don't steal this, anyone, because I'll probably make this right after. I'm guessing, you have a kid. You've seen SpongeBob, right?
Yep, a lot.
Yeah. So, Mermaid Man? The superhero, whenever someone says evil, it's like a trigger word and he has like a PTSD moment. I've thought about like putting him over the top of evil, like over the top of Infinite, just as a laugh. But yeah,
you should do that.
That's it. That's a thing now. It's out in the world. I'm gonna make it.
Also, Russ Anderson's he has such an incredible range because he is a vocalist that when they made the change to doing more groove metal style stuff, he was able to nail that too. Like that's why he's one of my favorite vocalists, because he was able to, he seems like he could just sing anything and it would sound fucking great.
Hell to the yeah. His voice is killer. Like all of the performances on this record are incredibly well played.
Yep. And I believe, and this one still has Bostoff on drums, right? I believe.
I think so. Yeah. Paul Bostoff is still on drums. I think the only lineup change is Tim Calvert replacing Glenn Alvarez on guitar.
Great album.
It's fucking killer, dude. Even the slower, more moody moments on here, they're still so. I feel like when they pull back, it's frighteningly good. I don't know. Like there's parts in 1 Foot in Hell and Twisted into Form where like he does the operatic thing as well, like da, 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 perfect world, and it's just so fucking cool. Like this. This band deserves way more credit than they get.
I'm telling you, they're criminally underrated.
Exactly, and that's why they made it halfway up this list of absolute classics from this jam-packed year. That it rules.
Well, shit, we're going to be moving from one criminally underrated thrash band to another criminally underrated thrash band for my number 6.
I think I know where this is going.
My number 6 album is the album Obnoxious by Acid Rain.
Knew it.
And it's my favorite Acid Rain album. It's the most technical Acid Rain album. It's also, I would say, up until their most recent one, like it's the best sounding one, but I think their most recent one, I like the sound of it actually even more, which is crazy because it's a modern album. But Obnoxious is just, it's so ambitious in so many ways, and they pull everything off, and it's got songs on it that are so kind of complicated and weird with the guitars that the current lineup of Acid Rain, they won't play some songs just because they can't figure out what they're playing on the guitar. And I'm just like, that's a testament for the dudes that wrote the riffs on this. And it is just one of those ones that gets better with every listen, but it's not one to go to if you're just wanting some fun thrash and, in and out thrash metal, because it's got really long songs. It's got songs that kind of go all over the place.
It's a little bit more conceptual than "You Never Know When the Nibbles Will Strike."
yeah. That's very true.
Yeah.
There is still a little bit of fun. I mean, at the end of it, they bust into just complete like funk or almost like disco sounding shit at the end of the last song. But it's just an amazing record, and I've talked about Acid Rain a lot on my channel. And I now do a show with Howard H. Smith, the vocalist of Acid Rain, a monthly review show, which is actually good for me because I hate doing album reviews, but now I have a way to do them where I enjoy it. So I'm like, sweet, I don't got to worry about that anymore. If you haven't watched that, it's called Old Bollocks, and it's on my YouTube channel, and we're going to be putting one out probably the beginning of every month. And anyway, but aside from that, before I ever knew Howard H. Smith as a person, I was a fan of his and his band. Mostly because of this album. Like, I like everything that they did in the original run of the band, but this one for some reason is just it's an album that it blows my mind that not more people talk about it. And I think maybe it's the album cover, which is weird because I like the album cover, but I think I can understand in 1990 everyone had gotten so used to these big Ed Repka album covers or whatever, that they come out with this thing that's just a pink cover with the words obnoxious coming at you. And I love it because it sticks out. Like, it doesn't, like, you have so many metal bands that you could, if you take the name off of the album cover and show it to me, I'll go, I don't know who fuck is it. Who's it? Sabotage? Like, who's this? It's like, no fucking clue. But you look at this album cover and you absolutely know what it is. So that, to me, it's a fucking classic album cover.
I think I tagged you in this. I showed you that putting the bolt thrower logo on 80s toys. Yeah. That's fucking great. Go check that out. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've talked about this album enough. It's amazing. Go listen to it if you haven't. Obnoxious by Acid Rain is my number 6.
Cool. So my number 5 is Ritual Delo Habitual by Jane's Addiction.
Oh, yeah. Great one.
So I discovered this band way too late in the game.
Yeah.
GTA San Andreas, that is.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'd always known Being Caught Stealing from the game's soundtrack, but an amazing album as a whole was just hiding from me for a long time. I guess I just never caught the Jane's Addiction bug until I heard Mountain Song, which isn't on this album.
So nothing shocking.
But, like, yeah. This album, though, holy shit. Like,
yeah.
There's all the vibey stuff on it that I love about this era, and I have no idea where it was this entire time.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many things about it that just nails it for me taste-wise from the early 90s, like grunge alt metal thing. Like, there's so many cool psychedelic moments, but there's enough like metal riffage in there to also give it that edge that I just love about this era. Like, Stop, No One's Leaving, Ain't No Right. There's which one is it? Is it of course that's like a full on Indian psychedelic hanging out with Ravi Shankar vibe. Yeah, it's just such a the thing as well that gets me is that they weren't afraid to both have like pop length songs and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, the next three are 10, 8, and 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
And this is just one of those times where the band was firing on all cylinders. This album just
except for apparently cool. They were all completely fucked up on drugs the whole time from what I've read.
I mean, that's probably why it's so good. But yeah, it's a really cool album.
Yeah, I got into them on this album in 1990. This was another one. Unfortunately, this is one that I had to leave out of my list because it didn't make the cut. But that's how strong the year 1990 was. Is that there are albums that I love that I just had to leave out because of other albums. And this was one that was a big deal. But I got into it because of the video for Been Caught Stealing'. But to be honest, that's my least favorite song on the album. In fact, that song actually is a skippable song for me on the album because it's fine. It just doesn't have the same strength that the rest of the album has.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I had the same problem where I was like, yeah, I like Being Caught Stealing', but it kind of turned me off a little bit compared to some of the other bands because at the time when I really started getting into the grunge and like alt metal thing happening in the early 90s through GTA San Andreas, I gravitated more towards Rage Against the Machine, Living Colour, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, those sort of bands. But like when Jane's Addiction finally clicked for me, around the same time as Helmet, funnily enough, which are on a completely opposite end. They're a lot more stripped back.
Yeah.
Less vibey, much more about heaviness and groove. But yeah, this album just it clicked with me for some reason.
Well, those bands you're talking about. They're all what I would call the fringe alternative bands because bands like those, Jane's Addiction, Living Colour, Helmet. These were all bands that got played in America on the alternative show called 120 Minutes, and they got played on Headbangers Ball because that literally is the number one thing that I love about this era of music is that there was this music that was heavy, that was not metal, but didn't really fit in anywhere specifically, and that is literally me. Like, that is how I felt my whole life. I feel like somebody that loves heavy music, rock, metal, whatever you want to throw my way, but I feel like I've never really fit in anywhere. And so these bands are all bands that I go, this is all, it's all like, my family, us weirdos. And so, and Jane's Addiction was one of those bands that when they came out, I'm like, this is not anything I expected, and it's really good. So just give me more of this. I thought that it was just going to be an endless sea of bands for the rest of my life that would show up and give me shit that I wasn't expecting. But that well kind of went dry after a bit. But but this album is a good one.
Hell to the yeah.
Also, I remember when I bought it, the only version they had at the store was the censored version. Because the original album cover, it's a painting by Perry Farrell, and it's got vaginas and boobies and penises and shit on it, it's got
a very generous amount of muff on display.
Yeah, and so the version I got was an all white cover that literally just had, I think it was a blurb from the Constitution about freedom of speech or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Though,
yeah, because the album itself wasn't edited; just the album cover was censored.
Yeah.
So that's how I always remember the album. When I think of Ritual De Lo Habitual, I think of the white album cover because I'm just like, well, that's what I had. Anyway, classic album. You got any other thoughts on this one?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead with your number 5.
Number 5. You know what? But I ain't leaving thrash metal. I mean, I will, but right now I'm not. And it's another amazing album from a band that I also consider very underrated. They're a little bit more appreciated, but they should be much more appreciated. My number 5 is The American Way by Sacred Reich. And
nice.
This is another one of those albums that I feel it's like what, you know, Acid Rain did with Obnoxious and Act 3 with Death Angel, where these bands just decided that they weren't just going to do the same shit, and they were going to be adventurous, and they didn't have boundaries. They just made the music that came out of them, and they didn't care if the song was longer or if it went in a direction that wasn't necessarily thrash. And The American Way is one of those great albums where there's enough thrash on there to make it a thrash album, but it's ambitious and it's awesome all the way through. And of course, it's got, you know, the political style lyrics from Phil Rind that I love. And it's got, I mean, the song American Way is a fucking classic, which
Yeah.
my introduction to Sacred Reich was the song The American Way, but it wasn't on MTV. It was in the movie Encino Man. Yeah. And cause,
I love that Brendan Fraser just as a caveman, just like,
yeah, because it's
enjoying it because it's fucking cool.
It's primal. Even the cavemen are into the thrash metal. But I don't think that I'd heard. I mean, maybe I'd heard them prior to that, but that's the first that I remember hearing that band. And then I was totally fucking into them. And so, like, when they put out their next album, which was Independent in '93, I was all about it. But anyway.
I had a funny story about Sacred Reich just real quick while it's on my mind.
We can always talk about Sacred Reich anytime you want.
Yeah, I remember, like, there was one day where one of the kids in my class was kind of giving me dirty looks because I was like talking about, hey, I found this really cool thrash band called Sacred Reich. For a straight up 24-hour period, this dude just heard Reich and thought I was a neo-Nazi for about a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, I don't know, I got bad vibes off you, dude. I was like, dude, it's a band name. I don't want to round people up and dispose of them.
And if you listen to their lyrics, they also don't feel that way.
Yeah.
So it's very much the complete opposite of that. But American Way,
I just thought it was super funny, the fact that, like, me of all people.
Yeah. The American Way is my favorite Sacred Reich album. When we get around to doing a ranking, I don't know if it'll be my number 1 because I always try to, like, find that middle ground between what I love and what I think is their best. But I think The American Way is probably both. I mean, I don't know. It's fucking amazing, and it's got so many cool fucking songs on it, and it ends with the song 31 Flavors, which is also like kind of a funky song where they Phil Rind kind of raps about not just listening to metal, about how it's okay to go listen to all these other kinds of things. And that's why like, you know, when people do look back, like the younger metalheads or old, I don't know what the fuck happened to these people as they got older, but everyone seems to think that, like, nope, the metalhead thing was just you only listen to this one thing. And I'm like, I don't remember that ever being a thing. It's like, and then obviously a lot of these bands felt the same way. So it's like, who are you? And you know, I didn't get into music to be all about fucking rules. So anyway, so yeah, American Way, amazing album. As I said I think every album that I've talked about, I've said if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it and do yourself a favor because it fucking rules. It's my number 5, The American Way. I didn't mean to yell at you, but it's now your turn.
It's like that. I'm just thinking of that bit. It's from an early episode of Family Guy where Peter's like freaking out that he's got a guest coming over, and he says, I really hope I don't get that thing where I can't control my volume when I talk to him. And he opens the door. He's like, Hey, Peter. Yes! Please come in. So yeah, that brings us to our number 4.
I was mid-drink when he said, I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm drinking water. Purified drinking water.
I am also drinking water, funnily enough, today. This is a very health-centric episode of Cranked and Ranked.
Honestly, the two. If I'm not drinking, I drink 3 things. I drink coffee in the morning. I drink water the rest of the day, and on the weekends I drink beer. That's literally, that's pretty much all I drink.
That's my routine, baby. Except my weekend happens Wednesday because it's pizza night.
Ah, yeah.
But yeah, number 4 is Extreme 2, Porno Graffiti.
Nice. I was wondering if this would show up here.
It did. It did, in fact, show up. So this is another hybrid-ish kind of album.
Yeah, yeah.
And
gets unfairly thrown into the hair metal category to me.
I was going to say, because this is as much a funk metal album as it is in the hair metal stadium rock thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's a match made in heaven, and I'm shocked more people didn't do it. But yeah, it's a riff-tastic album. It is so... Every song, like almost every song, which isn't more than words, is a fucking killer.
Or wholehearted.
Funk, or wholehearted, or when I Kissed Her, is that the other one?
I can't remember.
That's like a full-on Sinatra ballad.
Yeah.
Which one is it? And Extreme 2. Let's get the track list up here, baby.
To the internets.
Yeah. So yeah, you got Decadence Dance, Lil Jack Horny.
Little Jack Horny.
Jack Horny. When I'm President, Get the Funk Out. Oh, Get the Funk Out is so good.
Hell yeah. That fucking it's like they had a little bit of like progginess in some of their shit where like the time signatures would get weird for a second and you would go like, wait, what band am I listening to?
And I know this isn't extreme, but while it's on my mind, there is a part in 17 by Winger where the drums totally change up.
Yeah.
And I have to this day no fucking idea what happens at that point in the song.
You may be talking
as a drummer.
I don't really like that song, but there's a moment in the song that I love, and it's probably what you're talking about when it has that middle riff, like it does that little riff in the middle, and I think the drums switch up in that part.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's right after the solos. What? Like, oddly proggy for a kind of dodgy glam song.
It's fine. I'm not a Winger hater, but I'm not really that big of a fan of that song.
I'm cooking up a video idea where I'm gonna take all of the underage groupie songs and make the most uncomfortable playlist I can. Like Christine, 16, 17, they're all gonna be in there. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, you could probably just stick the whole Gene Simmons solo record in that. But yeah,
just make him the cover of the playlist. Just Gene Simmons' face.
No makeup either. It's the photo of him,
but still doing the tongue thing though. He's doing the tongue thing with no makeup, which is the worst.
I know exactly what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the part from Lick It Up where he's giving like this like predator stare to the camera. Like that, like with his.
Well, what about when he does the thumbs up? We got to do that too.
Oh yeah. Nice ass, baby.
We love you, Gene.
Please don't sue us. So yeah, it's a great funky hard rock album, and if you wrote them off because of More Than Words, stop it.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
but I'm sorry, More Than Words fucking rules. It is a really
great
good
song.
song. It's actually become one of my wife's favorite songs, but she wasn't, I don't think she even knew it back in the day. She recently heard it through me, and it's now become a song that she loves because she's 6 years younger than me. She was born in 85, or is that 7 years? Fuck, I don't know. You know, I'm robbing the cradle.
Yeah.
But but she, something just big, and that's because the song, everything in it is so perfectly done. The harmonies are spot on. It just has a really nice sound to it that you just can't help but just sing along to it. And just talking shit about that song, I'm just like, then I don't, just fuck off. Because if you don't have time, if you don't have time to get a little bit, smooth with the love vibes, then I would never want to be your girlfriend, because like, how fucking awful would that be?
If you want a healthy sex life, metalheads, you got to get into the ballad zone once in a while. It's just the nature of the fucking beast.
And honestly, on that note, wouldn't you think that if there was no More Than Words, would anybody still be talking about Extreme that wasn't just music nerds like us?
I think maybe down to Nuno Betancourt's guitar playing, because the dude's a fucking monster.
Nuno fucking rules. But I feel like if you're not into that style of music and that style of guitar playing, that they wouldn't have broken as big without More Than Words. It was the thing that put them on the map as a band that people know their name. You know?
That's true. Yeah, because they very easily could have been one of the unfortunate casualties of the early 90s label push to just pretend glam never existed.
Yeah,
the moment Nirvana came out, it was like, oh, better pull down the Cherry Pie poster, up goes dirt. But yeah, there's a cool thing about this album as well. I just want to highlight it.
Sure.
While we're here. It has 2 bracket songs in a row. And I'm just gonna get this off of my chest because it's. Oh no, it's got 3. It's got 3 on here.
Oh really?
So yeah, I'm gonna do them all now. Money, In God We Trust. It's a Monster. Susie wants her all day. What? There we go.
So that one song is just called It's.
It's actually just called It, and then it starts with the bracket, then has the apostrophe S, a monster.
They're just taking the piss there, aren't they?
Yeah. It's a piss take.
Like, oh, fuck off with your brackets.
Yeah, you and your grammar.
But yeah, also the song Wholehearted is awesome. I love that song.
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, is not on the original vinyl version of that album. I have it on vinyl, and it does not have Wholehearted, and it kind of bums me out because that's a really great album closer. It has a nice little feel to it. See, guys, that's why I feel like I don't fit in, because I have no problem saying songs like that just fucking feel good to me.
But I have a similar thing with any version of Angel Dust that doesn't have Easy on it, because I only ever knew it with Easy on the end of it, and it's like after I need to hear Easy after I've heard Midnight Cowboy. Yeah. It's just the way I'm wired at this point. But I have an original pressing of The Real Thing as well, and I think that's missing. Is that missing the War Pigs cover and Edge of the World, or
vinyl?
Is it just missing? Yeah,
vinyl is
original.
It's only missing Edge of the World. It ends, I believe, it ends with Woodpecker on Mars.
Okay, yeah, because it just
or from Mars or whatever.
That's the thing as well. There was this era where there was this big push to get the CD version because it would have a bonus.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And
in 1990, I didn't have a CD player, so it was all cassettes at that point for me.
But yeah, it's a great album, and I'm gonna let you take the reins.
Sweet. I'm loving the variety we're having here, but this is where I'm gonna dip in and do one you already talked about. So I'm gonna be real quick with this one. My number 4 is "Time's Up" by Living Colour.
Nice.
And we like we've said before, we did a Living Color album ranking. Go listen to it. We've talked about this album a lot, and I love Living Color. I love this album. It should, like everything that Eddie says, just copy and paste that and put it. If you could do like a deep fake and make my mouth say the things that he said, then
I'm terrified of that shit. Like, have you seen the Eminem deep fakes? That they're insane.
No, I don't.
Like
that shit bothers me.
They've synthesized his voice to the point where they have a text to speak like program where they can make Eminem songs that don't exist.
Oh my god,
it's crazy. Yeah, I'm kind of scared.
And they're still going to be be better than most hip hop that's out today anyway. That's how good insane. Eminem is. You can just make some shit up with his voice and it's still fucking rule. Anyway, I like Eminem. I like some modern hip hop, just not very much of it. But this is not hip hop. Although, you've got Queen Latifah and Dougie Fresh on this album, so that does, it's a little bit of that. But yeah, Time's Up is amazing. It's an album that everybody should hear. It's an album that gives you so many different vibes and all done amazingly well. And Living Color is also a band that should be fucking massive. And they when they go on tour, they're a band that should be playing arenas and headlining because that's how great they are. But unfortunately, I think maybe because they go all over the place so much, maybe they alienated people that just wanted a particular sound. If that's what they did, I don't think that I would like them as much. And so, yeah, I love Living Color. I love Time's Up. Amazing album. I'm not going to go on and on about this one because we already did, and that's my number 4. So let's move on to Eddie's number 3, the top 3, folks, of 1990.
I'm super intrigued now to see if we match up here because, like, granted, our lower picks could have been all over the place, but I feel like there are classics we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
That are gonna come up.
there are classics I will mention. There are classics that didn't make it, and like I said before, like my number 1 of 1990 changed in about a year and a half, and so it'll be interesting. So yeah, let's go with your number 3.
So my number 3 is "Rust in Peace" by Megadeth.
Nice, a fucking amazing album.
A true thrash masterpiece. It's a
thrashterpiece.
A thrashterpiece. It's as sophisticated as it is gnarly, and like the track list is like a who's who of thrash songs, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you take even the first 3 tracks, like Holy Wars, Hangar 18, Take No Prisoners. The song I almost broke my finger playing on drums. I told that story in my behind the album Rust in Peace. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a video I made.
Eddie Sparxx, go look him up on the YouTubes.
I make things too.
He does.
But yeah, it's a killer album, and I fucking love Dawn Patrol, man. Like, there's just something about Dawn Patrol that just like, there's something about David Ellefson's filthy fucking bass riff on that song.
Yeah.
That it doesn't even need a guitar over the top of it to make it sound evil.
It definitely doesn't need Dave Mustaine doing a weird faux British accent where you can't decide if he's actually doing it or not.
Now I can only laugh as I read our epitaph. We end our life as moles.
Oh my God. Woo!
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
I made myself cough. Yeah, take the reins there. I'm gonna recover.
Rust in Peace. Yeah, classics and shit. I wasn't ready. I didn't have anything prepared for this particular moment of the show. But I know
it's okay. You don't need it.
I agree that I like every song on this album. But yeah, Dawn Patrol is like one that like you could argue that it doesn't even need to be there, but the fact that I've heard this album so many times and that's where it is, I'm just like, yeah. I like that it leads up. It's almost like a little get ready for the closer kind of part of the album.
Oh, and when it comes to Nick Menza as well,
Oh shit, man, dude, fucking, dude was a monster.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. A lot of the stuff he plays, to an outsider looking in, like some of the stuff he plays is ridiculously hard, but some of it is just physically demanding, and I love a lot of the grooves on this album because they feel satisfying to play because, like, you take No Prisoners. The fills and things are relatively straightforward. Yes. It's like the speed at which they happen.
His whole groove thing. I remember when I first got into Megadeth in the early 90s. And of course, everyone was already putting them up next to Metallica because Dave was in Metallica. But I remember even back then when I was young thinking to myself, the thing that I like about Megadeth is that, I was mostly referring to, this lineup of the band, is that with Metallica, it seemed like everything is back and forth. Like the rhythms are it's especially, Lars. It's very, there's, I guess I didn't know the word groove back then, but Metallica isn't known for their groove. Megadeth, it's like there's a back and forth, but there's also now a side to side in the music where
it's kind of swinging.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I went like, well, yeah, that's why this band is equally as good because they have that vibe going for them. I love it when. That's the thing is that everyone's all like, Megadeth and thrash, and I was like, yeah, they're all great when they do thrash, but when they do those I don't know what you call it, the halftime kind of boogie down kind of beats. Like I'm just like that's where they fucking rule to me because I don't think anybody did that shit better than that combination of musicians. And you watch you can find live footage of them on tour in 1990, 1991, and they fucking blow everybody away. Any band, they were that fucking good. And that's why I love this lineup of Megadeth.
The thing I always loved about Nick Menza as well is that every time you see him behind his kit, he is just ridiculously happy.
Yeah.
He has a permanent smile on his face, and it doesn't fit with the music sometimes, but you can't help but be there with him in that moment because he's like, I have the best fucking job in the world.
Yeah.
I just get to smack these fucking things around.
And wasn't he
an hour and a half?
Wasn't he the previous drummer's drum tech? Like that's how he ended up getting the gig. Like that's insane that dude. Because like who was the previous drummer? What was his name? I don't even remember.
Chuck Bella.
That all the drummers in Megadeth have been great, but Nick Menza is easily the best in my opinion, and just the fact that he was just a drum tech, and he takes over, and then he just makes it to me the best lineup of Megadeth.
Yeah, which is why I found it quite shocking as well. Like
we did a Megadeth Cranked and Wrecked 2, by the way.
Hell yeah! Was it after Cryptic Writings where did he have like a hand injury or something and he had to like step out for risk, and then something happened, and then Dave said something along the lines of your services are no longer needed, and it was like, what? Ugh. You're about to get rid of Nick fucking Menza? Bro.
Yeah. Well, whatever. It's Dave's band. He
doesn't have to leave the fucking band.
Thanks, Lars. Dave does what Dave wants to do. It's if you have a problem with that, you're probably not a Megadeth fan.
It's the end of the line for you.
Yes, that is the best thing I've ever done, and It didn't blow up the way that I would hope that it would, but I'm still so fucking proud of it.
You want to know the worst part about it, though? is I'm already going to have that thought going into the new Megadeth album.
Wherever that lyric goes. So if you don't know, guys, we're talking about a video that I posted on my channel on YouTube where Dave Mustaine recorded himself doing the last line of vocals for the new Megadeth album, and it's just his voice. And it's just him, and he sings, "It's the end of the line for you." And for some reason, when I heard that, I made me think of the Looney Tunes music. So I just grabbed the Looney Tunes music, and I put it directly underneath it and synced it correctly. And the video is it's got the it's the end of the line for you.
The line for you.
And I was so I rarely make myself laugh out loud, but I did when that thing came together. You know when you edit something just right and you're just like, oh fuck, man.
Yeah.
And you're just I posted it and I was just like, this shit better go viral because it is the best thing I've ever done. It didn't go viral, but whatever. I'm sure if it did go viral, I'd probably get a cease and desist from Dave Mustaine.
Hell, it'll probably simmer away for like 3 years and then just randomly get boosted by the algorithm.
Oh, fuck, that would be great.
That's usually how these things go, but yeah. Oh, man.
Anyway, rest in peace.
Yeah, Also, quick note, I am super excited with that riff. We'll
see how it goes.
The one with the skank beat behind it, I'm fucking down, man.
I mean, I'm not. I've learned not to get excited about Megadeth albums because they always end up being good in some parts and okay in others. And so I'm just like, I bet you this is going to be that again. I'm ready to be proven wrong, as I always am.
I just really want that riff for like 40 minutes.
That'd be the whole album.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of it, he goes, it's the end of the album now.
And for some reason, they bring in Ja Rule. Yeah, we did it.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Do you have anything else to say about Rest in Peace? That was a little bit of a divergence or whatever.
Yeah, we're all good. I'm still kind of recovering from using my lung to swallow that fucking water. So
all right,
you go ahead.
All right. Well, this one's related to what you're talking about because it's another one of the big four. My number 3 is the album "Persistence of Time" by Anthrax, and it's no secret I'm a huge Anthrax fan, and I love the Joey Belladonna Anthrax albums the most. And this is not my favorite Joey Belladonna album, but I would say like, production-wise, guitar tone-wise, all of those things, I think this is the best sounding Anthrax album. It's just to my ears anyway. But it's once again, it's more ambitious. There's longer songs. They didn't really take a lot of risks necessarily. With some of the songs, I think there are parts where they kind of did things a little differently. But for the most part, it's just a really killer, solid album that I've loved ever since it came out, because I got into Anthrax in the early 90s, and when this one came out, I was all over it, and I loved it. This was an album that I loved so much that I remember I have memories of being in class, and I had a notebook that was a notebook that wasn't for school. I had school notebooks and things like that, but this one was just for writing down lyrics of other people's songs, not my songs, because I wasn't playing music at that point. So I remember writing all of the lyrics to Keep It in the Family all down in a piece of paper. And I don't know if I wrote down the N-word completely on it or not, but I probably did. Because they do, that is one of the things that's interesting, that in that song they actually say the N-word, because it's an anti-racism song, and so they use it in context, which these days would get you canceled. But
oh my god, while it's on my mind, can you imagine if "Fuck the Middle East" by Stormtroopers of Death came out today?
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's one that could easily get canceled too, but that's for a different show. But that once again, you're taking something out of context where something is intended to be from a person who's a reprehensible human being.
That's the thing,
and they're the person singing it. But anyway, whatever. That's a different thing altogether. But yeah, I loved this album so much that I had lyrics memorized to just write them down without the music and even playing in my ears. And yeah, it's just, to me, it's an album that has just remained awesome. Like, I feel like I feel the same way about it now that I did back then. I put it on and I feel the same feelings. That it hasn't gotten old. It honestly has just kind of stayed as one of my favorite albums. It's just one of those ones that it's an old reliable I mean, if I want this particular sound from Anthrax, here's where I go. And I don't have a lot to add to that, but we still have not done the Anthrax Cranked and Ranked yet, but we will. And so maybe I'll save a lot of my words for that. But my number 3 is Persistence of Time.
Cool. So my number 2 is Cowboys from Hell by Pantera.
Ooh.
There it is.
I was just waiting for you.
Oh hell yeah!
From my neck of the woods, from the Fort Worth area of Texas.
Awesome. This is one of those revolutionary moments in heavy metal. Now I know there is like debate on who did the groove metal thing first, with the whole Ex-Hoarder versus Pantera kind of thing that I've heard about.
Yeah,
but you know, things were shifting anyway, because like the thrash bands were cottoning on to, hey, people move the most to more of the mid-tempo riffs, but Pantera heard it and just fucking ran with it. And
I think that it was just two like-minded bands, because from what I know, because there's a band related to this that I'll talk about later that Dimebag Darrell was really into. And it was an Ex-Hoarder who gave him the desire to add groove into their music. And so and Ex-Hoarder's album is nowhere near as good as this album. Sorry. It's just not. It's great, but that's it.
And we also need to acknowledge the fact that, you know, Pantera's first 3 albums, and to an extent their fourth, they're essentially Def Leppard on steroids.
That's another one that we'll get to do the Pantera Cranked and Ranked, and we're going to rank all of the albums, because I think they all have good qualities, every single one of them.
For sure. Even if the band themselves don't acknowledge that.
That's whatever. I'm fine with that. They can do what they want with their own content.
Cool. So, there's a thing that sticks out to me whenever I think about groove metal, and that's the interview with Phil Anselmo in, I think it's the new metal episode of
Metal Evolution.
Metal Evolution, that's the one. And they talk about how groove metal was a big part in it. And he says something along the lines of, we just saw how the quote-unquote money riff would make the crowd move so much, so we just took the whole damn song and made it the money riff.
That is an amazing Phil Anselmo. If I close my eyes, it's like he's right there in front of me.
Okay, let's do it real quick.
Okay.
I'm Philip H. Anselmo. I've been in every fucking band, fucking Down, fucking Superjoint, fucking fucking Terra.
I mean, it's not. It needs a little work, but it's a really great start.
It's a service. It's serviceable.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, heroin needle in my goddamn dick. But yeah, Cowboys from Hell, it's killer from start to finish. And even when they get ballady with Cemetery Gates, that is an enduring anthem of heavy metal today. Any band breaks out a cover of that, even the hardest looking biker dude in the audience is going to get a tear in their eye. They're going to be there like, Reverend. Like
honestly, it's songs like that. Like I actually get some people's issue with why they love this album but then kind of fall off, because if you listen, if you told me, like if you played me an album by like the last album by Down or Superjoint and said this is the same guy from Cowboys from Hell, I'd be like, no fucking way, that dude can really sing. And so it's in it, and honestly, I have a theory, and it has to do with marijuana. Now, I am pro marijuana. I would like to be high right now if I could find a dealer.
This PSA is brought to you by...
PSA is I'm all about the ganja. But it seemed like he became really obsessed with weed and talking about weed and smoking weed. And I feel like he smoked it so much, he would smoke it when he was supposed to be singing. And then all of a sudden he couldn't fucking sing anymore. And I think that he, with that and alcohol and everything, I think that he quickly wrecked his voice because he wasn't interested in being a good vocalist anymore. If you watch live footage, even from the Vulgar Display era, he barely even does those songs. He's just like, he does some words that sound kind of like they're part of the song. And then he sometimes he even sits down while doing songs. I'm like, you lazy fuck.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen is when I think he sits down on one of the speakers at the front, does one of the lines from Domination, blasts a fucking snot rocket out of his nose and goes right back to singing. And it's a gnarly snot rocket too.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think that he didn't care about being that kind of singer, and so he didn't take care of his voice, and the rest is history. So he's become a vocalist that I literally don't care about what he's doing. I'm just like, he's fine for people. People love him, and that's great. I like him in Pantera, but that's kind of as far as it goes.
It's a pretty crazy transformation from like 3 Pantera albums, because he was on power metal.
Yep.
It's so funny that over the course of about 3 albums, you see Phil Anselmo essentially turn from literally Rob Halford to a hardcore guy. Yeah. And it's so funny just to think, like, on Vulgar Display of Power, he's like the tattooed hard fucking, I'm gonna kick your ass in the pit. And then, like, you go back 2 albums and he's in fucking, Hairspray singing like Judas Priest. Rock the world!
It makes sense. I mean, sometimes that, you get your desire that what you want to do musically changes, and that's I have no problem with that, but you can't. I just don't like it as much. I love Vulgar Display, and I love Far Beyond Driven. But after that, their last 2 albums to me are just good albums. They're not great albums.
Yeah, like I remember last year, I kind of like, after about 5 straight years of being really into glam, I kind of OD'd on it, and I was like, I need a break. I need a long break, because like back in college, I would like alternate between like, I'm in a grunge mood recently, I'm in a glam mood recently, I'm in a classic rock mood recently, and then all of a sudden, over the course of like a year in like 2017, like I think I just got stuck on glam, and the switch didn't shift for like 3 years, and then I was finally like, bro, I don't know how much more reverb I can take. I think I gotta take a break, bro. But yeah. Me now, I'm back to the healthy mixture of everything, but yeah, musical desire does change, and it's okay. It's okay to dip in and out,
But we were talking about Cowboys from Hell when they were kind of straddling that line from I don't know what kind of metal it would be. There was groove, but there was also a little bit of, I guess, traditional and power metal kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You could definitely argue that there is just some classic heavy metal influence in Cowboys from Hell, but it's mainly in the vocals. Everything else is much more the money riff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So without further ado, if you'd like to give us your number 2.
Oh, okay. We're done with Cowboys from Hell. All right. Yeah. I like Cowboys from Hell, but it did not make my my top 10. Wow. My number 2 is another one that you already talked about, so I'm going to be quick. My number 2 is Rust in Peace by Megadeth, which was my number 1.
Hey.
It's still a classic album. To me, like, Holy Wars is one of my favorite album openers ever. Like, it's
killer.
it's one of those things where that song starts to play, and I'm just like, oh fuck, just clear my schedule. I'm just listening to Rest in Peace now. And I love it. It's an amazing album. Technically, it's amazing. I love the way it sounds, the production. Not the remixed version. I know I've said this a lot on my channel. Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what? That was the time where I finally went, Dave Mustaine's really getting on my fucking nerves, because he remixed albums to where they sounded like shit. And I guess he thought that he was doing somebody a service, but he wasn't. He was fucking up classic albums. So I like the original mix of this album. It's amazing. Still sounds good today. The reason why it dropped down to number 2 is because I started thinking about what my number 1 album is and what it's meant to me ever since it came out. And this one started to take a back seat because I started to pull it apart, and I started to go, you know what? Musically speaking, this album is pretty fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Lyrically, you get into some of the later songs, like there are parts in this album where I go, that chorus could have been better. Even though, like, I love it because it is what it is, but I started to go, oh, there are some flaws here that, like, I didn't really look at before, just because I love this album as it is. I wouldn't want them to change it, but when comparing it to other albums that I love, I just went, yeah, there are a couple parts where I go, that's not amazing. And so it ended up being my number 2. But I mean, don't get me wrong, this is fucking, like, all 10 of these albums are amazing albums to me. But that's the thing that I love about doing these episodes like this, is that I really get to, like, pick apart things that I love and go like, oh yeah, it's really giving me the idea of, like, you know, it's almost making me even more, like, tuned into what I actually love. You know, to where, like, I can back up the things that I love so much, because I'm like, you know what? I have gone through and just, like, weeded through all of this stuff, and, you know, and really thought about the things that make an album great to me. And to me, Rest in Peace is great, but there is a greater album that came out in 1990. And so, without further ado, we've now made it to number 1. So now I have an idea what there's 2 albums in general, in particular. I feel like your number 1 could be either one of these 2 albums. So I'm going to see if I'm correct here. I'll let you know. So
actually, I'm gonna let you guess. Tell me both of them that are on your mind.
Okay.
And okay.
One of them was Painkiller by Judas Priest. Okay. And the other one was Facelift by Alice in Chains.
It is the latter. I chose Facelift.
Nice. All right. I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I thought Painkiller would be on your list.
That's the thing. It very nearly got to the top 10 spot.
Yeah.
But there was just, I would have felt bad to leave the L7 album off.
Yeah.
And yeah, as good as Painkiller is, we'll get to our honorable mentions in a moment, but yeah.
All right, Alice in Chains, let's do it.
Yeah, my favorite album by my favorite grunge band. We did an Alice in Chains episode, by the way, go check that out. Mm-hmm. Great vibe, great tunes, We Die Young, Man in the Box, Sea of Sorrow, Bleed the Freak, Love, Hate, Love.
Yeah, it's a like fucking that. Amazing album. I'm with you.
Like, that's the thing. So many people will say to me, do you really like it more than Dirt? And the thing is, vibe-wise, Dirt is just as good. I just prefer the vibe of this one that, like, 1% more, mm-hmm. You know? And it could be that the production is a bit more stadium rock, and it's like that cool middle ground between everything I like.
Yeah.
But even, you know, that said, this album just rules. And I love the dark psychedelic side to it too.
Yeah.
Especially in, like, I Can't Remember, Love, Hate, Love, Confusion, all of, like, the slower, moodier tracks on here.
Yeah.
Hell, even the deep cuts, I Know Something, fucking, what's it called? Real Thing. Like, Real Thing is such a good album closer. You know when a track, you hear it and you think, of course it's here.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's the one. Yeah. And I love the sexual chocolate reference at the end as well, which just makes it that much better. But yeah, Facelift. I've actually ordered up the deluxe box set of
sweet.
Facelift. So hopefully I'll get that this month. I was supposed to get it in January, but they took it upon themselves to make the box set even better, because I know you were initially kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
They added some more stuff.
What, they did?
Yeah. And they kind of responded to like the criticism and upped the quality a little bit, but the main problem recently has been like shipping. Like, it was meant to be delivered in January and then April and then June, and now it's coming out in August.
So what did they add to it? Because I'm all like, maybe I'll get this shit now if they're really gonna do that.
I'm pretty sure. I'm just going out of memory here, but I think they added of what was originally in it. I'd say there's like an extra 25%. I think. I mean, I could be talking out of my ass right
before,
now.
If I remember right, it was only the album remastered and some pictures, like lithographs or whatever, and I think that was it.
I think there's a lot more now. I think there's a cassette. There's let's load it up.
I'll have to look at it, because that's why I didn't get it, because I'm just like, you're doing a box set, but haven't you been watching what Metallica's been doing? Come on, man. let's throw some other shit in there.
It's got a badass animated picture disc with the faces on it that like moves when it's on the turntable.
What?
Have you not seen this?
No. Okay. Just send me a link and we'll talk about it. I'll talk about it or look at it after the show. But
okay.
But because I had no idea, and that's fucking cool. This is this is another band meeting podcast meeting. We might as well be a band. We're like the Hall & Oates of podcasts.
Yeah, now it looks fucking incredible.
All right,
I got to be honest.
I'm gonna go take a look at it. But I have Facelift on vinyl. I ended up getting like a version from Spain, an original pressing, and it sounds really good. Which is interesting because it's such a long album and it's on one disc on that. But I've noticed that albums from the early '90s that are made in Europe and other countries, there seems to be a better quality. I don't know what their pressing plants had going on, but they always seem to be really good.
Yeah. I just this is a top 5 album for me.
Of all time, it's in your all time top 5.
Yeah, Desert Island. Yeah, Desert Island disc for sure. Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 1.
Sweet. So my number 1 is also a Desert Island album. And this is one that like I've loved ever since it came out, but I kind of overlooked how important it was to me. And over the years, it's just gotten more and more of an important album in my life. And funnily enough, this band directly influenced Pantera and directly influenced Alice in Chains. My number 1 is the album Faith, Hope, Love by King's X.
Cool.
And it is my favorite King's X album. Once again, it's that kind of thing where you could probably argue that Gretchen Goes to Nebraska is better, or even Out of the Silent Planet. And I wouldn't really argue with you because they're all amazing albums, but this is the first King's X album that I heard when it came out, and I bought it on cassette. And it, once again, like a lot of these albums that we're talking about, it gave me something that I wasn't expecting, because there's a lot of metal influenced riffs, and they're down tuned riffs. They do a lot of drop D in a lot of their stuff, but they, on top of that, they put these beautiful harmony vocals on top of everything, and these little Beatlesque qualities to a lot of the songs. But this one, it just goes in so many different directions for them, and every song has something really memorable about it. And it doesn't even, and it's not a short album. Like I'm like, give me 40 minutes and get out of here. This is over an hour long, and I love every song on this album. And but I got into them through the song "It's Love," which is interesting because "It's Love," the lead vocalist on that is Ty Tabor, the guitar player who does a lot. He does some lead vocals, but he's mostly backing vocals. And so you get the album, and the majority of the vocals is Doug Pinnick. I think Ty sings like 3 songs, maybe 4 songs on this album, and Jerry Gaskill, the drummer, sings 1 song. But it's mostly Doug Pinnick's vocals, and I think he's the guy that's known. When you think of King's X, you think of his voice. But this album is just beyond great to me. It's grown in a way that I already loved it, but now that I'm older and I've gone through like being in bands and writing music, and I feel like I know a lot more about music, the things that at first I didn't really grasp onto because I was young and I was just getting into whatever was out there, those things all became very clear to me later on down the line. And this album is just beautiful and amazing and heavy and just hits all these great notes for them. And it was, once again, where my current hometown of Houston, Texas, that's where King's X lived at the time. That's where they recorded this album. I think they lived here for a very long time and recorded a good bulk of their music in Houston. And it's just one of those albums that's just become a part of my life. That songs from this album, I may not have heard this album in a year sometimes, and I'll wake up one day and I'll have, The Fine Art of Friendship or Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson's in my head a lot. Like that's one that the chorus of that song, that's a Ty Tabor song, or Tabor. I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, but he's an amazing guitar player, one of my favorite guitar players. So you'd think I'd know how to say his name correctly, but it's close enough. But and then you've got stuff like "We Were Born to Be Loved," which "We Were Born to Be Loved" is like this amazing song that's got this cool, choppy kind of heavy metal riff in it. But then the whole last half of the song is just them showing off how fucking technical they can get, and it's all these odd starts and stops at different times that you're just like, how can you even memorize how that goes? But they still play that live. It's like they refer to it as the showstopper because they show off a little bit. But they're just an amazing band, and they're an amazing band. Like I finished reading their biography, or I guess it's more of an autobiography, and they talk about their relationship with Pantera and how Doug and Dime were really close, and according to Dimebag's wife, King's X is one of the bands that Dime saw the most live.
Wow.
And so they talk about how they had conversations about their music, and King's X had already put out 2 albums by the time Cowboys from Hell came out, and so. The theory is that they're a big reason why things got more groovy, because a lot of the stuff that King's X were doing had a good groove, but it was also heavy, led to bands like Alice in Chains, doing stuff like that. They were also fans. And so they're kind of like the I don't know about the godfathers of grunge. They were more like the older brothers of grunge or something. I don't know. But this album's amazing. And it was one of those things where I switched it with Rust in Peace, and like everything just felt right in the world. And I went, yeah, this is my favorite album from 1990 and my favorite King's X album, Faith, Hope, Love. And there you go. Boom. We did it! 1990. But before we go, we've already almost hit the 2-hour mark here, but we're not going to leave you without doing our honorable mentions. And so if you would like to go into your honorable mentions, we'll quickly roll through those.
Okay. I've got a lot of big hair stuff in here, but it's peppered with death metal at the same time. So,
yeah, okay.
This is going to be hilarious, right? After the Rain, Nelson. the two most beautiful blonde
Bastards.
men yeah. Yeah. Apple by Mother Love Bone.
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Brigade by Heart.
Okay.
Awesome album that one is. Cause of Death, Obituary.
That used to
Cherry
be
Pie.
that used to be in my top 10. Cause of Death. That one got
Yeah?
left out, just because that's how life happens, folks.
Chopped in half. Feel the blood spill from the Don't finish the last word. Cherry Pie by Warren. Like I had to include it.
Yeah.
Detonator by Rat. Eaten Back to Life.
yeah.
Cannibal Corpse.
Bam. Yeah.
Empire by Queensryche.
That
Flesh and
one
Blood.
almost made my honorable mentions, but got booted out.
Nice. I got Flesh and Blood by Poison.
Love
here.
it.
Frizzle Fry by Primus.
Oh, that's a good one too. Shit, see what I'm saying, folks?
Yeah.
So much good music came out in 1990.
And I'm only halfway there. We got Heartbreak Station by Cinderella. In the Heart of the Young by Winger.
Oh God, even the album title doesn't do them any favors.
Yeah. But I gotta say, their logo always kicked ass, which is why it hurt me that they dropped it on their third album, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty rooted in the 80s, but you're an 80s band, just fucking roll with it, dude.
Yeah.
Just fucking keep it. Inside Yours by Gruntrack.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, Lights, Camera, Revolution by Suicidal
Yep.
Tendencies. Never Neverland by Annihilator. Painkiller by Judas Priest. Persistence of Time by Anthrax. Souls of Black by Testament.
Oh yeah.
Spiritual Healing by Death.
Yep.
Strap It On, Helmet.
Oh man,
And the
that hurt. That was in my top 10 too. That hurt to get rid of it.
Oh man, and then finally I got The American Way here by Sacred Reich. So that is, I think it's 20 or 21 honorable mentions, because this is just such a great year for heavy music.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So yeah, I whittled mine down to 5, and so certain things got left out. But my 5 honorable mentions are Facelift by Alice in Chains, Lights, Camera, Revolution by Suicidal Tendencies, Cowboys from Hell by Pantera, Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer, and the only one that nobody has mentioned that I love is Beg to Differ by Prong. And that wraps up my top 5. I had to leave out albums that I really like just because I had to tidy things up to 15 and just be like.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why we upped it to 10 instead of 5.
I mean, eventually, when we go
yeah.
back and be like, we're going to do the albums from 1973, and I'll be all like, yeah, we could probably do a top 3 or top 5 from now because there's not a whole once you get back into the early 80s and further back, that's when I'm like, there's not as many albums that really do it for me. So maybe it's easier, but maybe we'll just stick with the top 10 thing going on here because it gave us a much meatier episode. So those of you who love listening to this podcast, you got more podcasts because we just jam-packed it with all kinds of fucking albums.
Hell to the motherfucking yeah.
And so that's another year ticked off the list of ones that we haven't done yet. And we've done. I think when we come next time, we got to go back to the 70s because I think we've only done 1 year in the 70s.
Yeah, we should jump back. Maybe
I feel like we should do 77 just because it was a big.
Really?
It was a big. I mean, it's the year of punk rock, that you think of.
True.
So, but maybe we'll do that. I don't know. But first, we've got plenty of other things to get to first, and we're not gonna. The only hint I'm gonna drop about the next episode of Cranked and Ranked is that it's the beginning of a big one. You could say the biggest one, and it's an undertaking. It's not gonna be a one-parter, but that's all I'm going to tell you. And
it likely won't even be a 2-part.
It's going to be a 12-part series of 2.5-hour long episodes on one band.
On on the production of potato chips in the Midwest.
Oh, all right. I'm okay with that. I like some potato chips. Anyway, so yeah, since we've been here for over 2 hours with this year ranking, we once again, Peanut Butter Platypus. To those of you who have lasted this long, thank you for listening. And if you're on YouTube, obviously down in the comments, just put your top 10 of 1990 and go subscribe to Eddie Sparxx, because he doesn't have anywhere near the subscribers that he should have, in my opinion.
I am the forbidden of YouTube.
Yeah, you are. And I have to say that one of my favorite things that you've done recently is your drum cover of "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins. It is, it is fucking great. So go check that out, folks. But yeah. So with that being said, do you have any parting words for our audience out there?
I
think he meant no.
Brain break.
So on that note, thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week, like I said, with a big one, and it's not my penis. And although that would be flawless dick joke placement. That would be a one. I think that'd be a one-parter for sure. I just know there's no. It would just be a 10-minute podcast and just. Maybe not even 10, 9.5 minutes. No, I'm not. That's nothing to do with the actual length. Oh, where did we go wrong? Anyway, thank you very much for listening. You guys are amazing. We will see you next time. And as usual, I'm going to toss off over to to Mr. Edward J. Sparxx to take us out.
Later, dude.